Hello everyone, my name is Maayan and I am a first-year student at UC Berkeley as an intended poli-sci major. This lesson today is really going to focus on the creation of a 501c3 nonprofit I co-founded called the Foreign Policy Youth Collaborative when I was a junior in high school. Through this video, I hope to provide insight into the process that goes into creating an official nonprofit, and hopefully after watching this video, the process will seem a little less daunting. Today, I'm going to discuss what a 501c3 is exactly, the creation of the organization, why I decided to delve into this project, what outside resources were helpful, legal help I attained and what that did for us, leadership and passion behind FPYC, and much more. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video and really get something out of it. With that, let's begin. So what is FPYC? To begin, the Foreign Policy Youth Collaborative is a nonpartisan nonprofit established to bridge the gap between foreign policy professionals and youth voices. Essentially, it was made to be a safe space for teens by teens to share their views on current events, express interest in the business side, marketing, operations, and more. The opportunities are endless. It all started from a trip to Brussels, Belgium through CIEE, a summer study abroad program. What this program focused on was world government, and since Brussels is the epicenter of foreign policy and world government for Europe, it seemed like a great place to go. Now, at the end of this trip, we were given a final project to create a platform for all of us to stay connected that was not social media. The idea that I had for this was to create kind of a mini think tank because my brother was a foreign policy professional in a foreign policy think tank in Washington, D.C., and I was always so jealous of his opportunities to publish in multiple sources such as the Washington Post and more. And I was like, why do so many people want to listen to these professionals? I have so much to say. Now, obviously, I was not an expert and no means claimed to be. I just really wanted to get my thoughts out there, as well as publish my own opinions. And many other teens felt this way. So what it originally started as was Get Ready, an organization that was focused on putting out facts about the candidates running in the 2020 elections. Ultimately, we felt like this really constricted us, that we couldn't continue this after the 2020 elections. So we changed the focus to a mini foreign policy think tank to mimic what my brother did. We worked together all summer to create a website, bylaws, business plans, business structures, and so much more. We worked tirelessly until we hit the roadblock that we needed money to be successful in this. And we didn't have a bank account. We didn't have any place to be able to raise donations. We didn't have an incentive to give people to donate to us. So we realized that we wanted to be some sort of a nonprofit, but we didn't even know where to start. We found out that to raise money, we needed to be recognized by the government to open up a bank account. We had no idea how to do this, and we looked up so many ways and until we saw the option of becoming a 501c3 nonprofit via the internet. Now, once we saw that this was an option, we were like, great, let's do it. Let's go for it. It'll be so easy. And oh boy, were we wrong. We realized that obtaining a 501c3 status is going to be a lot harder than we thought it would. It took time, expenses, patience, resources that we just didn't have, and we didn't know where to start. Before we get into how to attain a 501c3 status, you might be wondering what 501c3 actually is and what it means. 501c3 is a type of charitable nonprofit that is recognized by the federal government. Essentially, what you can do with it is get untaxed donations, give tax deduction incentives for people to donate, and you can also, there are a lot of companies such as Google that will give you platforms to help you further your incentives, such as G Suite, which is amazing. Now, the difficulty is you have to remain nonpartisan, which is very hard for a politically charged organization. We had no idea how to achieve this. What we decided to do was find a way that we can publish partisan content while being nonpartisan as an organization. So what that meant is we put out partisan content that was not written by the organization. It was written by people who submitted opinions or are content writers. So it was very obvious that it was not what the organization as a whole thought. We had people from an array of political opinions all throughout the political spectrum, and it was a great cohesive working environment. We realized we needed a lawyer. Now, this was so intimidating. Oh my goodness. As I said, the process of attaining 501c3 status is very, very difficult. We needed board members, articles of incorporation, the 1023 easy form, official bylaws, and while looking at all of these things, I had no idea what any of them meant. With board members, I thought that they could be teenagers, and I was very wrong about that. You have to be 18 plus. Articles of incorporation, you have to file completely correct or else they will send it back to you, and there's a filing fee. 1023 easy form is really difficult. Is really easy to mess up, and the bylaws is all in legal jargon. So to get into a little bit more about what each one of them, the board members is essentially a team of adults who are 18 plus who the state and country can recognize as liable for the organization. You have the president, who is in charge of most of the general affairs, secretary, who is in charge of the paperwork and ensuring that everything is organized, as well as people who leave, etc. Treasurer, who is in charge of the money aspect of everything and financial planning. And then you can have voting members who are in charge, who can vote on different bylaw amendment changes. Founding members who have more power than voting members. It's an entire structure, but really what the main three things that you need are president, secretary, and treasurer, and one person can act as all three, though that is not recommended. Articles of incorporation is what helps you be recognized by the state as an official incorporated organization. So this doesn't mean that you get that you can get the tax deductible incentives or any of the 501c3 charitable status stuff. It just means that you are a recognized organization and you can get your EIN, which is kind of like an organization's social security number. So you can open up a bank account with it, you can be searched in the registrar, all these different things. Now, you have to make sure that you get a correct name. So we actually messed up a few times because we messed up on the name aspect of it. You have to have association, incorporated, something in the end. So we had no idea. Now the filing fee is $150, which we used out of our own pocket. And we filed it once. It came back incorrect. We didn't know why. Didn't think to ask for help. And that was very wrong on our end. So we filed it again and got the same thing in return until my father actually looked at it, and I came home really frustrated one day. I was like, why is this not working? My dad looked at it. He was like, you don't have an official title. You just have the Foreign Policy Youth Collaborative. I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, you don't have incorporated. You don't have association. And we were like, what? Where does it say that we need that? We were so confused. So we decided to go with Foreign Policy Youth Collaborative Association. And after that, we got our articles of incorporation, and we're very excited. And with that, you can move forward with the 1023 easy form, as well as opening your bank account in general. So the 1023 easy form is a form that is a shorter version of the 1023 form that helps with establish your taxes, how much income you make, what type of charitable organization you're going to be. And we highly recommend for a lawyer to actually fill this out for you, because it is really easy to mess up when you don't have expertise in it or are young and establishing this at a young age. And along with legal help, we really recommend that you get legal help with the official bylaws. There's this really funny story. When I first went to the lawyer before we hired her, she was like, oh, can you send me your bylaws to review? And I had sent the code of conduct essentially that we created. So it was be respectful of each other's opinions. If you are disrespectful, hate speech, etc., you'll be kicked out. And she was like, this is not what I mean. By bylaws, it's how to get rid of voting members, the procedure for different procedures legally. So this is what you send to the state and the government to process. And I was fully ready to send them my code of conduct. And she thought it was really funny. And I really appreciated that she found humor in it instead of was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you messed that up. So that was really good. But I really recommend, getting legal help for that. And if you can't hire a lawyer, which I'll get into more about that process in a second, then there are online resources. If you search up 1023 easy form fill out, or bylaw template, it's super generic and really easy to go through. Now, with lawyers, pro bono attorneys for nonprofits do exist, but they are very hard to get, and it will take a lot of time and resources to find them. There are definitely, again, internet resources to help if you can't find a pro bono attorney or don't have the resources to hire one. Some attorneys will actually help you in general, just by reducing cost if you talk to them. The worst that they can say is no. You can always ask, say, hi, I don't have the resources for this. Will you do this pro bono? And they might look at you and be like, absolutely not. And you lost nothing. You really lost nothing. So please do not be afraid to ask them for this. I worked with a lawyer and she taught me how to write these documents with the correct legal jargon in order to reduce billable hours. So that was really great. And I also got a lot of amazing experience through that. I learned how to write legal contracts such as company bylaws, volunteer liability waivers, partnership agreements, and more. The process in general took about a year to complete, with all of the filings and waiting for responses to get 501c3 status, but it was beyond worth it, definitely. When you're approaching a lawyer for the first time, you might be really nervous, and that is totally okay. I know I was. We found ours through an online search in the Philadelphia area, and we're very happy with our experience. What I can tell you is you need to be open and honest about your needs. Do not try and fit into what you think that they want to deal with. They are there to help you. Don't be afraid to ask pro bono work. Again, the worst thing they can say is no. They might laugh behind your back, but what do you really care? Don't be afraid to ask questions. No question is stupid. Please, I asked multiple questions that I felt like I should know them. And when I tell you that this stuff is super complicated, and if you don't have the degree in it or, have done extra background research, which I didn't, then it might seem like really confusing, but that's what they are there to help you with. You are hiring these lawyers because they are the experts and you're not supposed to know what you're doing. And the last thing is, I would definitely say make sure you look presentable and radiate confidence. If you go in there wearing a sweatshirt or just looking kind of messy, they're not going to trust you. You need to also make sure that you show that they're not taking on something that is a liability for them. You don't need to show up in a business suit or whatever. You can go in wearing a nice top or whatever article of clothing, as long as it's a bit more business casual, I would say. And even if you're not confident, fake it till you make it, truly. Like if you go in there and you're like, yeah, this is what I need, I want your help, this is why I think you should do it, it'll be a great investment for you in the long run, then they will listen to you. Especially if you're younger, because it takes so much courage and confidence to go up to an adult and be like, this is why you should help us with this. They'll be amazed and will automatically want to help you more. Now, if you're feeling like a 501c3 charitable organization is not what fits what you want to do with your organization, there are other types of nonprofits that have kind of the same like tax deductible stuff. A 501c4 is a social welfare organization. 501c5, labor, agriculture, and horticulture organizations. 501c6, business leagues. 501c7, social recreational clubs. So there are other things that you can find that your organization might fit into. Now, the accomplishments that come out of establishing an organization or a nonprofit are beyond worth the time and energy and resources that go into it. The accomplishments that I feel were really rewarding, establishing partnerships with organizations such as cross-publishing, speaking at events, raising funds. I think that the most fun I had was sharing FPYC's story at events and networking with so many amazing people globally. There was a team in FPYC that actually established a coalition between multiple other youth-led nonprofits to work together as opposed to competing against each other. It really focused on sharing resources, and I think that's so amazing because it is such a competitive environment. It kind of emulates the college application process where it feels super competitive, but all of these organizations end up working together and achieving a broader goal of unity. And there was an amazing volunteer who really worked on this and created such an amazing coalition that still exists to this day. With fundraising, it's a little bit difficult. You kind of have to really ask for help. We originally fundraised through friends and family, and then we moved to making merch and online donations. You're going to have to ask for help. And, if you get a no, that's totally fine, but you might get a few yeses and it's worth it. There are also multiple grants that will help online and that you can apply to, as well as different organizations will give grants. I know like Starbucks does it. Local, like in my area, there's this thing called Wawa. They give grants. You can reach out as long as it fits what's in their brand and like what their mission is. In the end, I feel like establishing FPYC, even though my current state with it is I am not president of the board anymore and I am not CEO. I gave it my position because I really wanted to focus on my education in my undergrad years. How it helped me was I learned the importance of leadership skills. My late mother was an expert in leadership management. So I feel like I had a handy consultant with me at all times, which is amazing. But it was also really frustrating at times. Ultimately, establishing this community is really rewarding. But I remember there's this time where we planned our first event, and it was beyond frustrating to plan. Catering, speaker, invitations, worrying about whether people were going to show up or not, possibly getting media coverage for it. But when the actual event happened, it was one of the most fun weekends that I ever had. My other co-CEO flew in from San Francisco Bay Area and stayed at my house, and we went to an amazing restaurant, and then we went to a store and bought these like super powerful like business outfits that I still have to this day and I love. Everyone who came to the event from the organization, which at the time was only like 10 people, slept at my house. We had an amazing dinner after the event, and the entire thing was super rewarding. Through this, I learned that using influence, empathy, and inspiration is most effective. We had monthly meetings, and it's an organization-wide meeting. This was mainly meant to generate more. Was to generate more energy and really get that flowing throughout the company and exert excitement. Now, if I had a bad day and I was leading one of these meetings, the meeting was going to go poorly because of emotional contagion. So if I'm really stressed, the meeting is going to be a stressful environment. But if you go in happy and excited and motivated, then the meeting will be super productive and the energy will be amazing and everybody will be listening to you. With that being said, emotional intelligence is really important, especially while resolving disputes. People do not agree all the time. I can't give a specific example, but I can just say confidently that people do not agree all the time. The way to get through it is being patient, and resolving conflict is definitely key. You need to make sure that you're hearing what other people are saying, digesting it, understanding it, and not just having it go one ear and out the other. You really want to get a full grasping idea of what somebody who might be opposing your opinion is believing, and seeing how you can come to a compromise or explaining your ideas and opinions and in a non-attacking way. You really just want to have an open mind, because everybody ultimately is there to do the same thing, and that is to further the mission of the organization. The last thing that I really learned was it is really difficult and energy consuming to keep people motivated and passionate. But the best way is through positive affect and reward. Whether that's establishing personal connections and relationships and showing your emotions in the workplace, or, a little bit of a different take on that is we did a holiday virtual party through Zoom last year during the pandemic. So during December 2020. And it was amazing. My co-CEO and I stayed up until like 4 a.m. one night creating these boxes with mugs and Sharpies and a hot chocolate mix and a little cute holiday hat and a personalized letter for each person. And then we mailed it out. Oh, and a Starbucks gift card. And we mailed it out. And ultimately, so everybody had such an amazing time. And we all met over Zoom and made hot chocolate and decorated the mugs and listened to music. And it was one of the best experiences that I've ever had. In conclusion, through leading FPYC, I really honed in on my leadership abilities and learned valuable lessons that have helped me through life. I grew as a person in unimaginable ways. I learned that I'm really interested in law and would love to go to law school, probably not for nonprofit law, but that's okay. It gave me experiences that I will never forget. And again, even though I'm not currently a part of it, I will always support them. I am their greatest supporter and really look forward to seeing what amazing things they do. So with all of that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this video on creating a nonprofit. I really hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching.